So what's up guys, it's Sirin here by Nino Quadji, and welcome back to another big baller video on Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Multiplayer Season 1 Reloaded. Within today's video, I plan to show you guys my new best settings for Black Ops 6 Multiplayer / Warzone, both of which I play on both here on this main channel and on my second channel, More Hero, in case you guys are interested. They actually updated the settings within sensitivity, aiming, and controller. So I'm going to show you guys my controller settings overall. I'm also going to show you guys my graphic settings, audio settings, and everything that you got to know how I play the game. People always ask for this every single update, so I thought I'd update you guys with my new best settings and inform you guys on how I play the game, on how to have the best accuracy, best movement, and all of that. So if you guys are excited to see all of that, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. On this channel, if you're new, I upload high kill gameplays here on Black Ops 6 Multiplayer and potentially Warzone. So if you're looking forward for some top tier entertainment, definitely stick around as we're on the road to 250,000 subscribers for the Black Ops 6 year here. And your presence would be greatly appreciated. But I've been yapping too much, so let's go ahead and start things off with our controller settings here. So I play on controller. Sorry for all my keyboard and mouse users, I don't use keyboard and mouse. My button layout is going to be bumper jumper tactical flipped. And in order to flip it, you just go over here to swap L1, L2, R2. And on console, it might say like L2 bumper jumper tactical, or it's going to say something different, but you'll essentially know that it's the same thing if you look at the controller configuration. But the reason why I use bumper jumper tactical flipped over something like stick and move or any of these other ones is because it basically transforms the controller into a special controller. I jump with L2, aim in with L1, shoot with R1, throw my grenades with R2, use my stims or whatever with X. I'm able to drop shots, slide with R3 here, and it just makes the controller more like a special controller. I don't need any special paddles on the back. I don't need like anything special. Everything is just on the controller itself. So it just turns your PS4 or your PS5 controller into that of like kind of resembling paddles. This allows me to jump shot more efficiently, drop shot, whatever the case is. And it definitely helps my movement, and I've been playing like this for the last 10 years of Call of Duty, ever since Black Ops 3, and it's definitely made me a better player. So if you want to go ahead and switch to it, it is going to be quite of an adjustment, but you'll be able to really take advantage of the on movement in this game and become a master of the game. Also, in case you guys are wondering, this is a Control Freak right here. Use code HERO at controlfreaks.com if you guys want a nice little discount on some Control Freaks. They really help with some sensitivity options. Moving on forward, we got horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity. This was also changed majorly within the last update. So you guys are probably wondering, here, why isn't it 1 to 20 anymore? Now it's like these point numbers. So they actually provided us with a chart here that you guys can see on the screen right now. So if you wanted to stick to your last sensitivity, say you wanted to have your 4 sensitivity from before, you would lower this to a 1.2 to kind of match the chart. Since I was playing on an 8 sensitivity, I'm at 1.9. And if I wanted to play on a 9 sensitivity, then I can play on 2.0. Now, if I wanted to be very, very precise, I could also just go ahead and type in a number and put in 1.95, which is in the middle of 8 and 9, and really fine-tune my sensitivity, which is the whole reason why they decided to do it this way. So if you felt like 8 was a little too slow and 9 was a little too fast, maybe somewhere in the middle, you're a little bit more comfortable with that sensitivity. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 1.95 just because I can. That's like an 8.5 or something like that, whatever the math might be. And it's up to you on what sensitivity you want to use. You want to use lower sensitivity, that's good for, you know, aiming better and just being more on target. However, you won't be able to turn on people as effectively if you want to be on a higher sensitivity like 18, 19, 20, or at least in this case, what are the values, like 4? Yeah, so if you want to be on like a 3.9, 4.0, 3.7, or whatever the case is, then you're going to be able to turn on people very easily, but your aim might not be the best. So me, I have it right in the middle. 1.95 is like an 8.5 or whatever from before, and it just feels really nice to me. So up to you. This is the way I play, though. All this should be off here. Controller vibration should be off, just the way I like to play. Dead zone inputs. If you want to test your Z zone, that's how you go ahead and test it. If you want to go ahead and get rid of any sort of stick drift, just go ahead and put that up by a little bit. And once you test it again, as you can see, there's 0% on both sides, allowing me to know that I have no sort of stick drift, and I'm going to be able to a little bit more precise, basically. Moving on forward, we got the sensitivity multiplier here, which I got at 1.0. Nothing really changed here. Going on over to aiming advanced settings, we got ADS sensitivity transition timing should be instant. Aim response curve type is dynamic, just the best way to go compared to linear and standard. You don't want to mess with the aim response curve slope scale because that would kind of mess you up. Going over to the custom sensitivity per zoom, put low zoom 2x and 4x zoom all to 0.9. This allows you to be more accurate with these sensitivities. And when it comes to the higher zoom optics, I have it at 1.20 because they're a little bit sluggish, and thus being able to move them a little bit faster will allow me to be just as speedy as with the lower zoom optics. Now that we finished our aiming advanced settings, target aim assist should be on because us controller players are nothing without our aim assist. And motion sensor behavior, I don't really mess with that. Sprint assist, I actually do have this on. I usually wouldn't put this on in previous Call of Duties, but for some reason, it just feels really nice in this game to have sprint assist on. It allows me to really take advantage of the on movement in this game. So if you had sprint assist off before, in previous CODs, definitely have it on this COD. And if you always liked tactical sprint or whatever it was, then put tactical sprint on. I never was a fan of that. I'd rather be in control of my character a little bit more. And then make sure sprint assist sideways and backwards is on if you want to take more advantage of the omni movement, or take it off if you don't like omni movement. Mantle assist is off. Crouch assist is off as well. Corner slicing, you can choose to have that on or off depending if you like that or not. It's the little thing that where your character kind of like leans to the left or the right when approaching a door. Slide/dive behavior, make sure you have it done tap to slide or hybrid or whatever you're comfortable with. I like tap to slide, that's the best way to go for me. Slide/dive activation delay, I just had that on short. Make sure you have that on short as well if you want your controller to be a little bit more responsive. Automatic airborne mantle is on. Sprint restore on. Slide maintain sprint on. Mantle cancels reload on. Parachute automatic behavior off. Movement advanced settings. You can see auto move forward is off. I want to be in more control of my character. I don't like auto move forward typically. And then everything else here should be pretty self-explanatory. And then vehicle advanced settings, you guys can just copy all of that there. Combat. We got pretty much nothing really crazy to talk about here. Manual fire behavior, make sure this is on press. You can have it on hold if you want to, but that's up to you. I think press is just better. Combat advanced settings, what's important here? Oh, interact/reload behavior. If you're playing multiplayer, always have this on tap to reload. If you're playing on Warzone, have it on prioritize interact. This allows you to loot faster, open doors quicker, and just be more responsive in Warzone, especially the looting. But when it comes to multiplayer, tap to reload is perfectly fine in my opinion. And everything else here is kind of a personal preference. So now moving over to the PC graphics settings. And I'll also show you guys my console graphics settings after I go over my PC settings. So just to preface, I do have a 1440p monitor, 144 Hz, 27-inch curved AOC monitor, and I have like a 3080 Ti, and you guys can see some of my specs on screen. Nothing too crazy. My display resolution is bugged. That should be 1440p. I don't know why it's saying 1920, but I'll fix that later on. Then moving on forward, we got eco mode preset custom frame limit. This is what I got here. Oh yeah, NVIDIA reflex low latency. Make sure it's on plus boost or off. Typically doesn't help most PCs. You could try them out and see if your game performs better, whatever the case is. But for most PCs, just on is pretty much optimal in my opinion. And you guys got the rest of the settings here. Moving on over to quality now. Like I said, I play on a 1440p monitor, so I have it at 90. Typically, you do want to have this at 100 if you're like on a 1080p monitor, but I want to make sure I have a little bit better frames, and I can still see the game as clearly as possible because I have my 1440p monitor. So up to you how you want to put this. 90 to 100 is pretty preferable, but if you want even more frames, you can go to 80, but just know the game is going to look kind of ugly. You might not be able to pick out some characters. Upscaling that / sharpening should be Fidelity FX Cast, and make sure Fidelity FX Cast Strength is at 90 here. Moving on forward to variable rate shading, that should be off. This is on 70. Why is this on 70? I mean, it's been fine on 70. Usually I have this on 80 or 90. I never remember changing this for some weird reason, but I mean, my PC's been pretty fine, honestly. Hasn't really crashed at all Season 1 Reloaded. It used to crash a lot, like a couple updates before, so I guess 70 is pretty good. Texture resolution, we got this on normal. Texture filter anisotropic is going to be normal. Depth of field off, detail quality low, particle resolution normal, bullet impacts on, persistent effects on, shader quality low, on-demand texture streaming minimal, or you can put on optimize and just kind of lower things down. Local texture streaming quality should be low. Shadow quality very low. SSS off. Occlusion, screen space, lighting high. SSSR normal. Static reflection quality low. Tessellation off. Ultimate quality low. Deferred physics quality off. Weather grid volume quality off. And water quality wave wetness. This basically just makes the game look nice, as well as give me higher frames with the lower sort of settings as well. When it comes to view here, we got field of view being at 120, maximizing our FOV so we can see as much of the field as possible and pick out opponents. ADS field of view is always going to be independent for me. Some people like affected. I choose independent because it zooms in on the opponents And thus, when I'm zooming in, I'm at 80 FOV or 100 FOV, whatever it is, when I'm ADSing. But when I'm not ADSing, it's at 120 FOV. So I see a little bit more of the screen when I'm not ADSing, and I see a little bit less of the screen when I am ADSing, focusing in on whatever I am ADSing at, which is why I prefer independent. When you're on infected, it's always at 120 or whatever FOV you have set, which is nice, but you're focusing in on something. I don't think you really need to focus on whatever else is on your screen. The bigger that the opponent looks like, the more accurate you're going to be. At least that's my logic when I'm using independent. Weapon field of view is going to be wide here. Third person field of view is 90. Vehicle field of view wide. Basically, the field of view being wide means that the objects are going to be as small as possible, so the weapon's going to be as small as possible, and vehicles are going to be as small as possible, so I can see as much of the screen as possible. Weapon motion blur and weapon motion blur are both off. First person and third person kind of movement are both at least 50%. If you have it at 100, you're doing something wrong because you're just getting a lot of shakiness. And then inverted flashbang, I have that off. You can put that on if you want to, but that's enough of my PC graphics settings. We're going to go ahead and do my console graphics settings, and then we're going to go over to PC audio. So let's go to my console graphics settings first. And now that I'm here on my PS5, as you guys can see here, on the display graphics settings, you got to make sure you have your 120 Hz refresh rate on if you're on PS5 or Xbox Series X/S. If you're still on the PS4 and the Xbox One, you don't have this option, well, that sucks, because this is a game changer for the next generation consoles, or current generation. Still feels weird to say current gen, I don't know why. But we got eco mode preset off. Quality is going to be world motion blur, weapon motion blur off, just because you don't want any blurriness. Because if the screen is blurry, then you're not going to be able to see the opponents. Depth of field is going to be off as well. Fidelity FX cast on. Cast strength 90. Automatic treasure streaming optimized, and I just have it to this. Or you can do minimal and, you know, kind of work things out that way. You guys just look at my PC graphics settings for the texture streaming. And when it comes to view, I got field of view at 120. ADS field of view of independent, weapon field of view wide, third person field of view 90, vehicle field of view wide. If you want to see my reasoning for that, check the PC graphics settings section for my reasonings. At least 50% for first person, third person camera movement, and everything else here is optional. So let's go ahead and hop back on my PC and show off the audio settings that I use on both console and PC. So now that we're back on my PC, we got our audio settings here. We got master game volume at 100, dialogue volume at 44, effects volume at 100, so we can hear footsteps, you know, freaking reloads, movement, everything that you need to know from the game. And everything else here is kind of default. And then you can put enhanced headphone mode on. I have it on because I feel like it really does help me. Or you can choose to have it off, kind of personal preference at that point. So whatever sounds better to you, you know, toggle it off or on. That's up to you. Don't do the enhanced headphone mode configurations. It's just a waste of money, in my opinion. Audio mix is going to be Sucker Punch to really be able to hit the tightest dynamic range from the audio of this game. So definitely have that audio mix on. And then the rest of this is personal preference. And then voice chat, you know, you can obviously change that however you want. Going over to interface settings now, we got all the important stuff here. We got visual support preset off. All this you guys can just copy down. Telemetry, I just have FPS, server latency, and packet loss, so I can see how much I'm lagging or how good my frames are. And then going over to readability, subtitles. You want to have subtitles on? I do recommend them because you're able to read things as they're happening instead of hearing them. And I think most people will respond to, you know, reading something more than hearing it. Only reason I don't have it on is because I'm a content creator. Having subtitles on my screen would just look kind of ugly for the for the look of the videos and the game and streaming and stuff. So I just don't have it on. But if I wasn't a content creator, I definitely would have them on. And when it comes to the gameplay HUD, you got some HUD presets here. I highly recommend magnified because it makes everything as huge as possible. And you could really see the game to its glory, especially the minimap. The minimap's going to look the biggest possible. And you're going to be able to locate opponents as easily as possible as well. We also got visuals. Make sure you're on a square minimap shape, just because square has more surface area than a circle. And then you guys can copy the rest of this here. You know, you guys can, you know, kind of mess with that however you want. And you got all the color filters here, so nothing else to really much talk about there. And we already talked about all the minimap stuff here. Radar should be off here. Compass type should be minimap, or you can have it horizontal, up to you. And over here is all personal preference. Crosshair is going to be static, or you could do center dot. I just like static personally for a little bit, you know, more of a steadiness in my opinion. Crosshair dot is going to be on. Center dot scale largest. Crosshair spread on. And you can change the color of your crosshair as well. So if you don't like the white color, then you can make it more purple. You can make it more red, or whatever the case may be. And then all this can be your own personal preference. But yeah, that should pretty much be it. Those are my best settings here within Black Ops 6 Multiplayer Season 1 Reloaded. Let me know if I've explained everything to a decent degree. And let me know what settings you guys are looking forward to, you know, copying from me, or if you were surprised to see some of my settings or whatever the case is. Make sure you guys tune in for the past videos. It's been a long day. I'm really tired. So sorry if I kind of rushed through this video. Just had a really long day, and I really wanted to get this to you guys as soon as possible. If you guys follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/MarkOfAHero. Hopefully these settings help you guys. At the end of the day, these are just a baseline of settings, a suggestion. You don't got to copy these settings word for word. But if something works better for you, you know, do that. And if something works better that you've used from me, then use that. You know, it's up to you at the end of the day. Thank you guys for the love and support. And keep being big ballers. I love you all.